This is round two, folks. I'm super excited. RJ Mitte is with me again, this time with the dog, not the cat, which is super exciting. Thank you so much for this. And who is directly behind you? I want to start off with an incredibly exciting development. For those of you that don't watch his social media, he is engaged to Kennedy, and I could not be more excited about this. So, two-part question on that. First off, I want to talk a bit about you were friends for a long time before you became engaged. So, how did you go from one step to another? And then, second of all, tell me a bit about because I know you told me not long ago that you haven't had as much time together. So, how does that work out trying to maintain things?
No, it's so it's been great. No, it's so amazing. We're so happy, but we're so busy since I proposed. I've been working, and then she's been working, and so it's kind of been ships at night. But we've known each other for over 15 years now, and we've had partners separately, like from like many years ago, and we just always were able to stay friends. And one about 5 years ago, she invited me on a cabin trip, and that hooked me from there.
Oh, look at
Um,
that.
but
Oh.
yeah, no, it's been great. It's been awesome, but we've been so busy. I've been working on my projects here in Texas, and she's been working on a pretty big project. She's now the sugar mama. So I'm just a working actor.
Just a working actor. Now, I'm curious to ask about that because she is marrying someone who is recognizable. Is there any concern on her part? Because a lot of us don't marry a recognizable actor. And so, there's things that come along with that. So, how does she handle that element of this?
Very, very well. She said yes, so she must feel comfortable with it. I think it's really up to both of us when you have that notoriety, when you have that where people do recognize you, in a way where you have to handle it with kid gloves, and you have to be able to be respectful of them, but also respectful of yourself. And I think a lot of that's up to me too, to make sure that I don't, if we're out and about, don't leave her. Like, it's kind of one of those things where people get whisked away in that. And I don't really. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, you're coming with me, you're gonna help me get out of this.
Yeah.
um and she's great.
Oh.
She's super helpful in when my fans do engage, and she loves it. She's proud of me.
Oh, that's so sweet. Look at that. Now, also, second personal question here. Besides my son and one other person, you're the only other guy that I know that attended the Tyson Jake Paul fight in person. So I have to ask, I'm dying to ask this. Do you think it was rigged? Were you happy with going to see the fight? I just want your take on it because I hear 100 things.
Look, I have a pretty big combat history.
Um,
Not many people know about. But I'm not going to say anything about the fight being rigged or not.
okay.
All I'm going to say is I wanted to see Mike Tyson in the ring. I wanted to see Mike Tyson throw a punch, and I saw him throw half a punch. Um, but I got to see Mike Tyson in the ring. That's really what I wanted to see in my lifetime.
Um,
I've always been a big Mike Tyson fan, and seeing him, you know, he was a commanding force in that ring.
yeah.
He was a You can feel the energy coming off of him. I don't care how old he is. That dude's a beast regardless. And that's really what I wanted to see, and I saw half of it. So I got to see Mike Tyson in the ring. That's all I care about. Whether it was a good fight or not,
I hear you. I do.
I
Yeah. I get it. Some of us sat at home and it came on and it came off and came on and came off. And I'm not a huge Jake Paul fan. I just hear about all the antics and things he does. So I'm like you. I like the Tyson aspect of it. So I'm like, okay.
you
Um,
know, it
yeah.
was really cool. I watched when because like I could see that we could, seeing it in person is definitely y'all got a better fight watching it on cameras than we did in person. Let's just say that.
Oh my God, really? Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I have a location question for you. I know that you
I
have
mean,
been previously in California before. You're currently in Brownsville, Texas. I won't lie, I've never heard of it, which means most of my listeners have not heard of it either. So tell me a bit about what draws you there. And then, second of all, I mean, if I came and I visited, what do we do there? Like, what's
oh,
Brownsville?
there's so much to do here. So my grandfather's from the area. We Brownsville, Texas is at the very bottom. I say it's at the bottom and people go, "Oh, El Paso." And I'm like, "No, we're like 11 hours south of El Paso." And like San Antonio, I'm like, "We're 3 hours south of San Antonio." So down where we're at, we're by Matamoros, Mexico. And
Okay.
so my grandfather's from here. My grandfather's from a little town called Southmost here in Brownsville.
Okay.
And uh I've been coming down here my whole life. I work down here with my family foundation, which I'm the president of, and we have been supporting the community here and helping create opportunities. And there's so much to do here. We have one of the best beaches in the world down the street called South Padre Island. We got the third finest sand in the world. I actually I cross into Mexico quite often, but we got some of the best food, music, culture. One of the projects I work here, I work with the mini cultural district
Yeah.
here in Brownsville. So we got the Glass Porter Zoo and art hubs, art exhibits. You name it, we have it. Actually, well, not a lot of people don't realize is. Do you remember Harambe?
Mm-mm.
The gorilla that lost his life at San Diego.
Oh, no.
So he was actually from and belonged more or less belonged, but he was from here in Brownsville.
No
So
kidding.
so the Glass Porter Zoo that I work with is works on protecting endangered species, and the groups have single handedly like worked with like help bring and take endangered species off that list through their breeding programs.
Okay, gotcha. Look at that. Now, if I were to ask you, what's it like for potential filmmakers to come there? Is there any incentive for them to come and
Big
film there?
time. Yeah, we're huge. We have the Brownsville Border Film Commission,
Okay.
which I've worked with for and worked with that team for many years now, and we
Mhm.
have we have a very film friendly community. We have lots of locations. We have a growing everyday rental for film products,
Okay.
cameras, equipment,
Sure.
and so it's definitely growing rapidly
Good.
here. It's because so Brownsville is comprised of a few different cities. So we're in the Rio Grande Valley,
Okay.
which is more or less McAllen, Harlingen, Brownsville, and then we have tons of little cities all that pepper through South Padre as well. And so it's I love it here. I've been working here for 15 years now. I moved here right before the pandemic.
Okay.
And I love it.
Oh, very nice. Okay, good shout out to Brownsville there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I want to talk a bit about to anybody who is familiar with you, you have a condition called cerebral palsy, and you've had that for quite a significant amount of your life. So, one of the things I want to talk about, which I think is huge, is I think the way society views this and the way an individual living with this view this very differently, meaning that a lot of people might use the term disabled. And in some ways, I feel like that's drawing a negative stigma to you. But how do you feel about that? You as the person living this?
Being disabled or what, I think it simplifies things for people. And the general public is a pretty simple being. Um, and as far as me as someone with a disability, I don't really look at it as a negative. I've always looked at disability or any type of thing we have to overcome or challenge we have to face as an opportunity, as a knowledge, as a strength, as something that we can learn from and grow with. And I think people that have disabilities um, are are able to understand things and understand the system in a way that no one else gets to understand them. You know, when you're able to when you have to fight your whole life to just be able to walk, you know, or talk, or
Yeah.
to be considered a person in some areas, you know. Having a disability in the United States, you know, it's not easy, but you know, it's much better than most places that I've worked. You know, as
Hmm.
far as accessibility and inclusion and opportunities,
Okay.
you know, you go to some places, you know, there's no roads, there's no pavements,
Yeah.
there's no accessibility, and it's one of those aspects where you gotta work and learn how to overcome it and overcome the system for it.
Sure. I want to ask you this question more so as an educational thing for others that may not be familiar with this condition. So, as you age, because you're a young man now, but we all age, and as time goes along, is this a progressive disease or are there things that you will continue to battle your whole life? Just so people understand.
So it's that's I think the hardest thing about disability. It is it pretty much stays the same, but as you get older, you know, you do face different challenges with cerebral palsy. It's so it's not a disease. That's one of the big things that people, and especially with disability, is people have certain disabilities, but they're like, oh, I'm going to catch that, or I'm going to give it to my children, and more often than not, that's a misconception. You know, there are some genetic disabilities. There are some, I mean, it's like having a heart condition, right?
Yeah.
Like so there people are predisposed, but that's not exactly the main aspect of it. So for cerebral palsy, more often than not, it's something has happened where the umbilical cord wraps around the neck, and so it's not really anything that the mother has done, um or the doctor has done. It's just circumstance, and the baby rotates in a way
Yeah.
where it causes that. So I like to look at it, I think the biggest way to kind of explain cerebral palsy in a simple tone is think of it almost like a stroke at birth.
Okay.
And so it doesn't always progress. There are many types of cerebral palsy, dysplasia, and and it really depends on that person. More often than not, most people with cerebral palsy have multiple disabilities, so cerebral palsy
Okay.
usually gets overlooked in that regard. Um, because their other illnesses or whatever it may be is usually more severe than cerebral palsy. It's not life threatening, you know.
Yeah.
It's more of a it's fine and gross motor skills. It's hand eye coordination.
Yeah.
And so I find for me, as you do get older, um, you know, we all get weaker in different ways, and I think it's all about maintaining control.
Yeah.
And so for me, um, you know, I've incorporated my therapy into my everyday life, into everything that I do, into how I carry myself, into um, standing. You know, even when just I'm standing, I'm stretching. And so as far as progressing when I'm older, you know, we all we all progress in one way or another. It's really about how we take care of our bodies and how we maintain our minds, and you know, just staying in shape. And
Yep.
I've definitely seen as I've gotten older, I'm a little. I got the back pains, but other than that, I'm doing good.
This is good to hear, actually. I'm glad to hear that. Um, One of the things that you and others, I've had a couple other actors I've talked to about this, have talked about at great length publicly is that the disabled need to be cast more. They need to have more jobs, people need to be given more offers, etc. So I wonder if people watch this and they happen to be a filmmaker, I'm wondering if one of their concerns or challenges for them is, oh, this person has a condition and we may have to alter things, etc. How would you address, like a filmmaker or creator, to alleviate their concerns about giving more opportunities to folks like yourself, that it's okay to do this and regularly.
No, I think people don't realize that how many people, how big the disability community is, and it's over 15% of the world population, and I'm a firm believer that there are two types of people in this world: people that have disabilities and people that are going to have disabilities. And I think what we have to do is we have to raise the standard of content again.
Mm,
And I think when it comes to casting and it comes to opportunities for people with disabilities, I think it's a double-edged sword of we do need more people willing to hire or take that risk, because it's not a risk, and there are so many amazing actors with disabilities um who have worked for many years, and I do see a lot more in media than I ever have in the past. I will say
okay.
that.
Okay.
um I definitely see that, there's so many more opportunities now for people in general in the media, but that also makes the funnel bigger and the spout smaller.
Yeah.
It's with more opportunities and more people, there are less, you know with more people there are less opportunities in general for just getting that opportunity, because there's one person trying to find that one role. They can't go through hundreds of thousands of people.
Right.
That's just not realistic. But I think as far as media is concerned, it is profitable. There is money to be made, and that's really what they care about.
Yeah.
It's not about it was for a hot minute, fill the quota, right? But now we've people have got sick of that mentality, and now it's going back to, is it profitable or not?
Yeah.
And that's what gets funded. And I think we have to remind people that it is profitable. There is an audience for people with disabilities, and not because they have a disability, but because they have talent.
Right. I agree 100%. So if I were to ask you, because I think I know the answer, I bet there are advantages to hiring someone like RJ, as compared to another actor. So this is the part where you tell us, why would they hire RJ? So likewise for RJ, he might have these complications, but is there something that you're really super strong at that maybe somebody else isn't? You know?
I mean, I'm pretty good at the drama. That's kind of the name of my game. Most of my movies are wrapped in drama.
Okay,
Um, uh, yeah, no, I mean, I'm just an actor. I got my strengths. I got my weaknesses.
sure,
I think it comes down to, for me, when I picked my roles, and when the roles I know I got and the roles I know I did not get came down to it, a lot of it comes down to just the heart that's inside the script,
sure.
and kind of the emotional levels and different the passion behind it. I'm pretty good with the passion projects.
Ah, okay, I gotcha. Now, before we move on to the foundation, I guess I should ask this other question. Recently, I was doing research. I don't know if you've heard this or not, but they've made some really big developments with cord blood transfusions and therapies relative to CP and getting advancements and trying to get cures and things like that. Now, one day I'm guessing you're going to become a father. So, does any of this ever concern you? Meaning, is my child ever going to be in this capacity, etc.?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Again, with my CP, mine was from a mistake. They left my mother in labor for like 5, 6 days.
Oh gosh.
So mine was a whole thing. I'm a closed adoption. But we do
Okay.
know that
Yeah.
my mother did not have insurance, and so I'm told. And they're like, wait, this baby doesn't belong to her. We can't let it die. I think a lot of when it comes to kids with cerebral palsy and certain specific disabilities, a lot of it comes down to insurance,
Yeah.
and the family being able to have money or not. Sadly, um, the medical system is not, it's not
Mm-hmm.
always your friend.
Yep.
And in that regard, as far as me having a child, I'm not really worried about disabled or not. I would always love my kid. Um, as far as the blood transfusions and all the different stem cell stuff, this has been a long time coming, and I really am excited to finally see the United States step up to the caliber of what they call experimental. Um, you know, w- a lot of times people sell treatment. You
Yeah,
know, the best client is a client you're going to have for life.
sure.
So why get them healthy when you can sell them the treatment for their whole life? And so I'm really hopefully one day. I don't think soon, but we'll live in a world where we won't just sell the treatment, but we'll give people the cure.
Absolutely. I would agree. The foundation to the new audiences that are here today that do not know about your foundation, which you are currently running, please tell them a bit about that. And second of all, tell them about, are there any differences between the way your grandparents have ran this foundation versus what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I am currently the president of the Roy Frank and Joan Colmetti Foundation, my grandparents' foundation, which I'm actually named after my grandfather,
Mm,
not my father. Um, and so I went from board member for many years to treasurer for many years, and now I've been the president for 2 terms. And so um, as far as how my grandparents ran it to how we we the board runs it. There's really not much difference. I've we have rules. We
of
have lots and
course.
lots of rules. Um, and bylaws and structures and systems, and I miss being the treasurer because I got to say no a lot more. Um, as the president, as any president of anything, you're at the mercy almost to your board a little. They listen, but
Sure.
you have to listen even more,
Yes.
um, especially to the treasurer.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
we operate. We have a scholarship program. We've helped build children museums, libraries, science centers.
Yeah.
We have anywhere from 15 to 37 students on scholarship a year. I actually have a meeting later today. And as far as what we do, we focus on elder care, education, disability services, youth development, and aging over the past 30 years. And I love working in philanthropy. It's it's so important because we're not talking about today. We're talking about tomorrow.
You
You
bet.
know, we're talking about 15, 30, 40 years, 100 years down the road of impact, and kind of how do we create opportunities? How do we provide resources and tools for people? And we don't we're all self-generated. So we are able to kind of work in a way where how do we find the need? How do we find the communities? And that's actually why I'm here in Brownsville. Has been working on this project. My grandparents helped build the children's museum here and a park here, and they named a cultural district after them
Yeah.
here in Brownsville, Texas.
Hmm.
And in around 2013, um, I really wanted to come back down here and make a big difference. I saw what we were doing in Austin because we're an Austin-based organization.
Yeah.
Um, but we're not Google, we're not
Yeah.
Yahoo, we're not Amazon, we're not these massive conglomerate organizations with
Right.
endless pockets. So what used to be a $10,000 grant is now $100,000 grant, which is now a $500,000 grant. And we're structured, we're a system, we're budgeted. So because we're looking for long term, not you know long term growth versus just one lump sum. And so I love it. It's great. We have a great board of directors. We've done some amazing things here in South Texas and across Central and Rural Texas, and I'm a big believer in rural philanthropy, where most organizations can't get to or
Mm,
don't even know about.
sure.
Is where we need to help the most. And I tell anyone if they want to get involved with a nonprofit to always volunteer first. Do your best to get in there and volunteer and to see what's happening inside the organization, and fall in love with it that way. And if you're looking to make a difference, direct impact programming. Find those organizations that directly impact the people that you're trying to help.
Yeah.
Um, and that actually can show a statistical number on it.
Hmm. And since you mentioned that you're currently running it, all I'm thinking is, he's a working actor and running a foundation. How does he have time for that?
I shoot movies on the side. I am incredibly swamped
I
every
bet.
single day.
Oh gosh.
But no, it's a great problem to have. I'm very
Yeah.
lucky in that regard that and where my time came from, it was COVID. Um
Yeah.
COVID, I was like, what am I gonna do now? All my work is done. And so I doubled down on my philanthropy.
Oh boy, look at that. And we're so proud of you for that. So we want to talk about you as actor, producer, etc. But before I start that, just to throw this out there as well, to those that don't know, RJ has also done keynote speaking before. So I just want to ask about how often you get a chance to do that. And do you feel that you impact people more profoundly by doing the keynote speaking or through the foundation, would you say?
I think as far as is all my works are very different. And as
Yeah.
far as my foundation work with my family foundation, and then the foundation work I do with other organizations around the world, and then individually keynote speaking. I'm actually leaving this week to go speak at a organization up north called Can Do Canines.
Okay.
And they train service animals. And I think they all are very different and they all serve a different purpose. Um, I for the most part, as far as the foundation goes, me personally, it's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of meetings, it's a lot of paperwork, it's a lot of grant requests and structured and lawyers and legal and behind the scenes stuff. And as far as the keynote, and it's a lot of upfront and asking the mass for whatever it is that organization needs at that time. And then
Yeah.
volunteering, it's a lot of hands-on direct relationships, you know, boots on the ground community. Um not so much about you, but about them. And then I think each part of philanthropy, or really the philanthropic world, is very different in how they all live.
Yeah.
Because there are multiple different types of 501c3s. There's type 501c3 6 and A's and B's and fives, and they all do different things. And I think people get very confused on what a 501c3 is, and then what a nonprofit is versus a foundation versus a charitable donation versus there's so many different avenues that regard. But what I find comes down to makes the most impact, um is people seeing you um in person. Being able to give someone, whatever it is, if it's blankets, if it's food, if it's time, if it's care. My mom worked in home health for many years, and I helped out with that, and worked with like hospice and stuff of that nature. And I think it's about giving someone time that doesn't feel worthy of time.
Mm,
And if you want to make that difference and if you want to have that impact, the most valuable thing you can do is give that time and show that you care and do your best to understand. I find in life, um it comes down to many different variations of three things. Um, but for me right now, I think the most important thing in our society right now is to have kindness and compassion, um, care and understanding.
Absolutely.
Because without kindness and compassion, um, it's hard to care for people.
Yeah.
And you can care, but if you can negatively care,
Mm,
you can care in a way that people aren't going to receive it well. But if you have kindness and you have care, and then and through those you do your best to understand the situation, not fully because you never will, but always do your best to understand and put yourself in their shoes and then fall back on that kindness and care. And that's more that's more than most people give.
yeah.
You know, people will give you stuff or we'll give stuff to people, but if you just hand someone a blanket and a meal and say, all right, have a nice day, go back in the cold, that's really not making that difference.
Right.
And trying to find that need, of like, how can we get you out of that place? How
Yeah.
can we give you a structured system? How can we help you change your mindset in what you think you're worthy about? Because it's not about always giving, is what's missing. It's the mindset, uh, to
Yeah.
receive help, to receive whatever it is that you think you're not worthy of.
Hmm. Thank you for that. Now, just a small introduction to him. He's an award-winning actor. He is a producer. He's a keynote speaker, as you mentioned. He is a WBC World Painting Medal recipient. And on
Well,
top of which,
actually, I'm a World Boxing Council. Yeah,
you get
WB's.
that?
Yeah, I got my belt over there.
I did not know that. And on top of which, guess who dressed him? Kenneth Cole. Most of us don't get that. I'm like, dude, how did you score that?
I love Kenneth Cole. I've worked with him for many, many years. He's such an amazing advocate, and I've done work with him through his Courageous campaign, many years
Oh,
ago, and he's
okay.
always remained a good friend of mine. And as far as activism goes, fashion activism, he's one of the pioneers, in America.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was huge. I was like, oh, isn't that awesome? That is amazing. So I'm going to break down a bit of this. I found it was interesting to note that you have done and worked on the side of film production in 2021, 23, and 24. So you're selective about it, meaning that you're not doing it constantly. So one of the biggest things filmmakers always want to know from a producer is, okay, what is it about our projects that needs to hit you? What needs to be part of this script for you to say yes?
Mostly funded. For me, I find where my yes comes from is that there's a lot of soul behind the project. There's a
Okay.
lot of heart in it. It has a mission, it has a statement, and it there's a point to it. And whether it's disability related or not, it doesn't really matter as long as there's some meaning behind why you're making this project.
Sure.
A lot of times what I work on when it comes to the producing side is, um it needs that extra push. It needs that we're right at the end and they need that extra mile to go, and there's a lot of heart behind it. There's a lot of community behind it, and it
Sure.
deserves to be seen and deserves to be out there. And I think for me, um a lot of the projects I produce, I've worked with are known for many years in different capacities, and a lot of times known their work and really want them to succeed.
Nice. Okay. On the production side, again, a lot of things we worry about these days. Well, usage of AI for one. Second of all, less and less prep platforms, excuse me, to be able to distribute because things
Yeah.
are hectic right now between theaters and streamers, etc. You know, and then there's the good old fashioned, well, if you get a name on there with big social media, everything will just work. So I want to break that down. So, as an actor and a producer, both, where do you stand on the whole actor or producer has to have a huge social media following to be part of this?
I think it's garbage.
Good answer.
At the same time, though, I get it. I mean, I get replaced because of my social media numbers. I mean, it's part of a game. I don't think it's gonna last forever, though.
Hmm.
Um, I do see the point because there's a built-in audience, right? They're like, oh,
Yes.
they got 10 million followers, they got 100 million followers across all platforms. The one thing that I've noticed is it doesn't really always cross over those numbers.
Okay.
Even though the marketability is there, those numbers don't always meet sales, you know? I do think that in the next few years we're going to see a massive shift in the industry when it comes to um social media and the streaming market and kind of where we're at. You mentioned earlier or just a second ago about there are so much, between Hulu and Netflix and Amazon and YouTube and
Yeah.
TikTok, vertical media now is a whole new mass structure of the next wave, in my opinion, of soap operas. The modern day soap operas. And
Yeah.
I think there's still a golden standard of media. But I think we have to get through whatever this period of time is.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to change. I think we're going to see a big change in that. And people laugh at me, but cable's coming back. I mean, you're already seeing it. It's already technically back with all the ads, the bundles, the
Yeah.
packages.
Sure.
They just don't want to call it cable because that would make them have to pay residuals.
True.
Um, and so I've seen this in this industry over the past um 20 years now. Yeah, 20 years. Um, of where where producers try to cut corners and try to cut costs, and that's usually at the expense of the actors.
Yeah.
And when it's not the actors, it's the crew.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think we're in this weird spot of everyone's like, we just want to work from home and rake in money, and we got away with that, and well, some people got away with it. I don't know about everyone, but I think we're going back into the physical media standpoint now. I think
Yeah.
right now we're about to see a big shift into that where people are hungry for media in physical content, back to the theaters.
Yeah.
I just went to the movies the other day. Sadly, we lost power in it, but it was slammed. It was people are hungry for the theater again. People are hungry
Nice.
for art again. I've seen a massive grow even with the local theaters that I work with here. We have a playhouse that I work with, and community arts are growing at an exponential rate. And
Yeah.
I think that's something that I love to see because that tells me a number of things. But that tells me that people want tangible media. People want art again.
Yes.
People are tired of these cash grabs of names, and just because they can make the movie doesn't mean they should make the movie.
Yes. Agreed with that. Now, on either side, whether it be film or acting, AI is out there and it's concerning for many reasons, and there aren't a lot. From what I'm seeing, I know you're a SEG actor, of course, and I haven't
Yeah.
seen really strong, solid protections yet. So, how concerning is that for you on either side of that fence? Because you have to worry about it whether you're an actor or a producer at this point.
I mean, as far as working actor, it really can't get worse than it already has.
No.
um, I think AI, like any tool, I compare AI to Photoshop. Do you remember
Okay.
when Adobe Photoshop came in
Yes.
to play and everyone hated it? everyone was like, that's taking away this from that person or this
Sure.
from that. Like CGI, everyone hated
Oh,
CGI
yeah.
in the
Yep.
beginning. But in my opinion, AI now they were using similar versions of AI and CGI then, and
Yes.
have been for many years.
Sure.
Um, it's a tool. It's no different than any other program on your computer. And I like using Blender or any of these other things. I think where we got to be careful when it comes to AI is likeness protection.
Yes.
Anyone can grab anyone's face, and right now, people are abusing people's likenesses.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but my favorite thing I was told one time is, "What are you gonna do about it? Try to stop me." And so, and it's like, well, you're right. There's nothing that we can do about it, and there's no way
Gotcha.
of stopping it. Um, that's kind of the name of the game when it comes down to it. Until it gets until something gets so out of control, and sadly that's what happens, is it usually grows into a point where everyone goes, what have we done? And then
Yeah.
that's when it changes.
Oh, yeah. You betcha. In fact, I was stunned to see there was an AI actor who was seeking
Yeah.
representation and an AI director. I'm like, how can you seek representation when you're
Yeah.
not even human? This doesn't make sense. That's
Well,
crazy.
but there's a team of people behind that.
Yes.
That's not some random, that's not just this, like, people treat AI like a person. It's not. It's a
Yes.
program. It's a
Yes.
system. It's a group of people. It's some dude sitting behind his computer making this happen. There is always human input in this. It's not Skynet,
Right. Oh, yeah.
like regardless of what people you know one of my things that I tell people when it comes to this, we're not that great, humanity. You know, we like to think we are. We like to
Okay.
think we're the masters of all these things, and
Sure.
we do, and we create and bring and do all this. But when it comes down to it, we'll destroy ourselves before anything else. And our systems that we put in place, um, you know, they're valuable.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a f- I like and wait for the moment is we can make the change, but
Hmm.
it takes the moment of what have we done, and that's where the change can happen.
I get you.
And I think in the industry right now, we're still in this happy-go-lucky AI bubble. In when we get into like higher level money, I mean, it's just people not wanting to work. It's really wanting someone else to do our job that we don't have to pay. And that's what it's coming down to. And eventually, I don't think it's going to be able to last like that forever. And for the time being, I mean, in the past 5 years, the boom that's happened,
Sure.
with technology and AI, and I think, and if it's happened this fast, progressing forward, it's only going to keep getting faster and stronger and smarter. And I think we're going to have to be able to utilize it. I think in the next 5 years, we're going to use it in a completely different way than we're using it now.
Sure. That makes sense. You bet. Now, before we switch over to the acting side, question. I recently was actually approached by a streaming company that actually handles specific neurodivergent films. I don't know if you've heard of this
Okay.
before or not. Build it into like an A24, you know what I mean? Where we take these types of films and pitch them everywhere, not just let's be a neurodivergent streamer alone.
Well, no, I think it's going to make a great help. I think, any platform to be able to launch from is a great platform to have,
Sure.
and sadly, trying to get something sold at Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and Apple, and you know how my only thing about these media platforms is, how do we make sure that the artists aren't losing their rights to their films?
Good
You
question.
know, like, and there's right now there's not really, if you want to get your product out there, you're pretty much giving it for free. And the only way that right now I see people making money is people clip farming and bot farming and just being able to generate this illusion of growth.
For sure.
And that tricks the algorithm, that tricks the industry, make it be
Yep.
like, oh yeah, look, it's got 5 stars, but it's got 1 review.
Oh, sure.
Um, and so I think as far as a platform like that, I think it's great. I think it's an amazing opportunity that they're getting notoriety on it,
Yeah.
and that they're getting content. Now it's about how do we make sure that the content is a higher standard, and right now it's neurodivergent, but as it grows, who knows what it can be.
What I say too. Absolutely. Great answer there. So yeah, that's why I'm so excited. I'm like, awesome. As an actor, you have done 38 projects that have 38 solid projects, more to be released, obviously. So the first thing I want to talk about acting wise, which I love, you had said this repeatedly, which is you prefer to be involved with independent projects, which is kind of surprising because someone of your stature, literally, it wouldn't be surprising at all for you to work for networks, etc. So tell me why you feel independent film and your participation in it is so necessary. Why do you love them so much?
Um, I find the projects I gravitate towards have a lot of heart in them and have a lot of different meanings that take you on journeys and different things. And I think with independent, you can kind of, you know, branch out more and take a bigger risk
Yeah.
on projects than you can with a network. Now, keep in mind, I love to do a network project, but every time I've done anything network, I've always come in the last second when they're like, "Yeah, well, we're already on the way out." Um, so um, so I catch the tail end of it, but I think when it comes to being able to create your own film and to create with someone that's truly invested their heart, their soul, their mind into a project, that's where you can create a lot of art.
Yeah.
And I find most projects don't have art anymore.
Mm.
Are there very art enthusiasts with very high end hoity toityness. It's either one or the other. It's either the art gets all the money or none of the money.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but I think independent projects and the content and scripts that I get and read for and audition for, um, I really say something to the characters that I play.
Yeah, absolutely. And then second of all, my next question to you is looking at your acting career, the 38 projects you've had so far, I'm curious, which one of those is most difficult? Like the most difficult character for you to play? Which one was it, do you think?
Most difficult character to play. Um, I I think it varies. Um, I think the hardest one I did recently was this movie we're in post production on called Talking to Strangers.
Okay.
Um, it was like 115 pages,
Oh,
something like that. We shot it in 7 days.
okay.
Um, so like we shot a full feature film in 7 days. So that in a sense like that was very hard because
Okay.
we're shooting in and out of things and every scene is like 6 7 pages long
Oh
of solid
God.
dialogue. I think a lot of it varies, as far as acting goes. I always do my best to be as prepared as possible, to know to know my dialogue, to be ready for it, to be able to adjust if needs be. Um, Oftentimes I will end up having to, because I work a lot in independent projects, I will have to go usually find money halfway through at some point.
I bet.
Um, for a majority of my projects. Not because I'm taking the check, but just
Yep.
it's hard to make a movie.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
and anyone that has made a movie or making a documentary, they know Um, I think the biggest thing as a young actor to always remember is to not take it too seriously.
Oh yeah.
Um, to not to to not worry so much about the nonsense of it.
Yeah.
I think for me, my hardest thing is I never wanted to see one of my projects die. Um, and so a lot of projects do die when you're making them.
Yep,
And
they
so
do.
so I always fight very hard to keep them alive, and that's why they'll take some of my projects take anywhere from 2 to 7 years to make.
Amazing. But when you think about it, that's part of it. I think people think you just, oh, we're going to make a movie. It'll be done in a couple months and everything's so simple. And it's like, no, not even close to
No,
that. Gosh, no. But you also had the luxury, and I do say, and good fortune of being on a network television program. So obviously they take care of everything there. Now, in that regard, with you playing Junior, I've asked you questions before, and most people already know. I think he's been asked everything there is to be asked about Breaking Bad. So I don't want to inundate RJ with Breaking Bad, but there are questions that actually these are fan questions. I had put this up on social media and I said, okay, what do you want to know from RJ Mitte? Because there's very selective things from Breaking Bad that I want to know. So the first question really is, one of the things that I had read was that your character, you actually had to worsen or make your condition more severe for the character itself. Was that actually true? And how do you do that exactly?
the crutches really sold the the visualization of what Junior. It wasn't that I made my disability worse or better. It was really the crutches, using the crutches because people are very visual,
Yeah.
and so especially with a disability, people see the crutches before they see the character.
Hmm.
And so in a sense of that, I did add a little bit of a stutter more, so
Sure.
on certain things to exaggerate and to emphasize and stuff of that nature. But that was kind of it. Again, the crutches sold it. I think a lot of people still today don't expect me to walk, or to talk really at all,
Oh my
as
gosh.
well as I can,
Okay.
um, just because of the assumption.
Yeah. No, I get it. I do. Now, for your particular character, clearly you were Bryan Cranston's child on there. So I can only imagine if I went to work with Bryan Cranston, I think I would probably pass out. And I kid you not. I mean, there's this phenomenon about this person. And you had the fortune of working not just with Bryan, but a bunch of name actors. So walking into that, with that being your first role, how did you literally prepare yourself to be able to handle that regularly?
Well, I think what really helped me be prepared for that was doing extra work. And
Mm,
that's what I recommend to everyone that wants to get into the industry, is extra work is
yeah.
um, a great stepping stone, not just to get in, but to work with professional actors. So, because I was on Hannah Montana for the whole first season. I was on Everybody Hates Chris. I was on Epic Movie and Seventh Heaven and all these big name shows as an extra.
Sure.
And so I think as far as working with Brian and Anna and Betsy and Dean, who have all had long careers, and you know um, Giancarlo and everybody. I think that really prepared me because I didn't really look at them as stars.
Sure.
I don't really um, I don't really have that mindset when I look at someone like I'm like, oh my God, that's so and so.
Oh, look at
Um,
that.
so I think as far as that goes, it's kind of just like, oh yeah, that's just Brian, and
That's
it's just
just
Anna.
Brian. Look at that. He's like, yeah, that's just my pal, but that's just Brian. He's the little guy over there
Right.
that no one ever sees, etc. So for fan questions, I have the Fab Fours, I call it. First of all, have you ever had a chance to try out the new I don't know, remember the name of it. I'm sorry, Brian Cranston, but Brian and Aaron have a tequila
The
brand.
tequila, Dos
Have you tried
Hombres.
it? Are we
Yeah, it's
advocating?
good. Yeah, no, it's a good. If you like tequila, it's a pretty decent. It's a mezcal.
Ah, okay. Haven't
So
had it.
it's very different than tequila itself. But if
Yes,
you like whiskey, do you like whiskey?
I do.
Then and do you like tequila?
Somewhat.
Well, it's like a mixed.
Okay,
It's
gotcha.
like between it's a little bit of both. It's very the mezcal process is very similar to how they distill tequila or
I
how
bet.
they distill whiskey.
You bet. Okay, question number two is we all think that it's possible that maybe we want to know what happened to Junior. Is it possible you think that it's ever going to happen? Where are we ever going to find out what happens to Skylar and Junior?
I think it's possible. I mean, they made El Camino,
Yeah, I saw that.
so they made you never know. I've recently got a lot of people that have been like, hey, wink wink nudge nudge, and I'm like, well, look, we'll see. I tell people we'll probably do something when I'm 40.
Okay. I'm like, why can't we do it now? But okay.
I'm like, when I start being middle aged and balding,
Oh gosh, listen to this. Oh my gosh. Okay, next
I'm,
question. Next up. Somebody asked me to ask you this. I thought it was kind of random because I'm like, I'm assuming because I know how set life works. You're not on set for absolutely every scene that goes down. But somebody was curious, were you there when the infamous scene happened with Giancarlo and his fate? Because that looked very technically challenging to set that entire set up and actually get it done.
I was not, um, I was not there for that scene specific with him and Theo Hector,
Yeah.
um, but but I do know, I do believe Greg Nicotera actually helped came in, at the time Walking Dead,
Yeah.
um, was doing very well. I mean, still is doing very well. Um, and so we had a lot of special effects. I do remember seeing all the special effects in the
Yeah.
trailers and stuff for Giancarlo, and it was pretty good. I wasn't there for that, but I was there for the bathtub scene, which was pretty wild.
I bet
Which
it
was
was.
it
I'm
was
like, oh,
cool.
oh my gosh.
But yeah, no, I do remember though the setup for Giancarlo because they did some of that was most of that was makeup, but some of that was CGI.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
so I think it was really cool. We had a great. That's the one thing that Breaking Bad I think sets apart from most TV shows in general. Is every single part of our crew was on point.
Mm.
Um, every every day, all day, we had the best gaffers and grips and lighting in the business. Michael Slovis, our DP on Breaking Bad,
Mm.
um, who has a laundry list of history, and as a DP, really captured just the magic, and I think that's something that we don't really have in this modern day world. It's crazy to think that we can even get even moderner than what we
Right.
were before. But we're rapidly growing, and I think we've lost a lot of what we go for simplicity and what we go for in product growth versus the arts of it
Hmm.
in mainstream media. I think we've lost a lot of that art, and I think we've lost a lot of that soul when it comes to high level arts.
Oh yeah.
um just because we get so much of it, there's so much content, there's there's so many crews and people that when they're sought after, and like I work with many different people. They're already booked on their next project before they get off of this one,
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
and especially when it comes to crew. a great crew member or a great team of crew. They're already booked. They're booked 5 projects down, so they don't really care all the time about
Right.
that one project. It's like, yeah, whatever. Don't just they'll deal with it in post. They'll deal with
Yep.
that. That's not your problem. And I think that in itself um is kind of what we have to regain, is that pride in work, that willingness to, no matter how big you are, if you're making, $1 million or $50 million an episode or
Yeah.
whatever it is, your department has a half a million or a $500,000 budget or $50,000 budget or $500,000 budget or million, to always maintain that status quality,
Yeah.
to always maintain that care and that passion for it. And that's what we had on Breaking Bad.
Aw. So my last two questions from our two little fans here are A, people talk all the time on Jimmy Fallon, like, did you take anything from set? So that's one side of the fence, unless you
Yeah.
get in trouble. Can you say that
No.
without getting in
No, no,
trouble?
no, no.
Okay.
I've told people I took my crutches.
Um, it is. And on the flip side of the fence, of course, everybody wants to know. I think everyone is under the perception that you, Brian, and the whole gang are having drinks every day and you're all hanging out together. So, how does that work exactly? Because not every cast and crew stays connected. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I mean we're all connected. I think that's more of him and Aaron.
Yeah, I see
I,
that.
I, I think that's more those two hang out more than we do because they still have content and products together. Um I mean, I can pick up the phone and call any of them.
Right, right.
Um
Of
I,
course.
I don't, because everyone has lives. That's everyone's got families and kids and lives and wives and all the things, and so it's, we'll see each other. I'm kind of one of those people that, like, I'll see you when I see you.
Oh, I get it.
Um,
Sure.
you know,
And they're
I
spread
got
out location wise, right? Like everybody's in different places.
most are in California.
That's kind of what I
Um,
figured. Yeah.
yeah, I'm over in South Texas. I think Aaron's in France. Maybe, I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not
I
either. Yeah,
I
I get
hear
you.
I hear things. I can find people pretty well.
Ah,
Um, but I choose. I'm kind of one of those things where it's like, I talk to Ice and talk to him for a little bit on their birthday every, like, once a
aw,
year. You
that's
know?
nice.
Um, but I'll see you when I see you.
Gotcha. All right, before we talk about the new project, West Hampton, which I'm super excited about, I guess the other question that we had is this. If I were to ask you as a producer and you had not worked with him, would you cast Bryan Cranston,
Oh yeah.
even if you
If
didn't know him?
100%. Well, I mean,
Okay.
if I could afford him. um,
That's where you make that call. Hey, buddy. So
I-
remember when we were on this show? Can
yeah,
you help a guy out?
he's gonna charge me double. He's gonna be like, "Yeah, I got you, but the price is doubled." Um, no, of course I would hire Brian and Branston. Yeah, Brian Cranston in a minute. I would hire any of the people from Breaking Bad.
Nice.
The quality of work that they all do, and I mean, look at where many of them have. I mean, look at Jesse Plemons. I
Yeah,
mean,
I know.
that dude is in every major thing. I mean,
Insane.
he was always working like that before. Um, but he's just continued to rise. The quality that Vince Gilligan chose and the
Oh, yeah.
writing team chose for the show is unrivaled in my opinion.
Absolutely. You betcha. Okay, point taken there. So if you are wanting to cast Bryan Cranston, anyone, I feel like it could be a little expensive from what it's sounding like. So just
It's
keep
not.
that in mind.
It's definitely, I get a lot of people asking me to connect them with Brian, all
Oh
like,
no.
that's like all the time.
Oh,
I probably say at least 3 times a month.
really?
And yeah, and so, like, it's kind of one of those things that it's like, I'm like, I'll work on it. I'll talk to him next time, but that dude's booked out year, and his daughter Taylor's killing it on the pit,
Yeah, I
and
saw
so
that.
they're
Yeah.
super busy.
Yeah, no kidding. So stop asking him for connections, folks. I hear that often too, actually, where like somebody's on a show who knows somebody famous or like more famous, and they're like, "Oh, you need to connect me." It's like they act like they're just sitting there. They have agents and publicists and
Oh
all
yeah.
this stuff. Like,
Well,
it's
that's what I
crazy.
do. I forward them all to his agent.
Yeah.
I don't let them go empty, but I forward them to the agent. That's because he doesn't want to tell me no, but it doesn't mean he won't say. I'm
Well,
like
right.
I don't ever want to ask. I'm one of those people that I probably should overreach sometimes, but I don't.
Look at
Um,
you. Well, RJ's a star now. He's in this new production called West
I
Hampton. Premiered at Tribeca Film Festival. I would call it a version of Tragedy Revisited and the after effects. That's my personal opinion. I unfortunately was
yeah
unable to get to the screenings at ReelAbilities, so I've yet to see the project, which I'm very unhappy about right now. Um, my first question is how you got connected with the director to do this production.
yeah I actually joined on this project in 2017.
Yeah.
They reached out to me. They were like they had this idea and sent me the script, and I really liked it, and they're like, we want you to do it. This is kind of the overall thing. And I was like, yeah. Fast forward 5 6 years later, they're like, hey, we're back. And so they're like, you still want to do it? And I'm like, yes, I still want to do it. The script really resonated with me. Um, in a sense of the journey of all the characters.
Okay.
And for once, I actually play a happy character. So
My God.
yeah, I know, right? That's crazy. So it definitely was a shift for me
Okay.
to play a happy character for once, but it was a lot of fun. And Finn Whitrock, who stars in the film, is amazing. Um, he just had such a the character's journey of what Finn's character has to go through is such a unique story in a sense. At the same time, it's a very common story of coming home and having to face your past. And many times often than not, when you go back to your small town or you go back to wherever, after your journey of life and you're going to settle down, the past comes back
Oh,
and
yes.
and in full force. And this is a journey of learning how to find redemption, not just from other people, but from yourself.
Oh, yeah.
I find we're the hardest critics in life, and we're the hardest on ourselves of what we could have done or what we didn't do or all the things that we should have said. and and I think this movie really captures that moment, and that's why I love independent projects. Is you're able to capture these moments of realism in society that we don't often talk about,
Yeah.
and people don't think people care about, but people do care.
You betcha. Well, and Finn, you brought him up, so I wanted to ask this question. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm crazy, but for those of us like myself who watch AHS, all I kept thinking when I was watching is it's a trick. He's not really as nice as he seems. Because if you ever watch AHS,
yeah.
I mean, he's awful. I'm like, he's just awful. I'm like, ew. So I was interesting to me how he's such a flip. You know what I mean? It sounds like his character is a complete direct opposite, which is I find very intriguing.
No, look, he's as nice as he's nothing like his American Horror Story character.
God.
So he is an awesome guy. Um, no, he's a character. He does very well in his character acting, and um, he's a great scene partner to have,
Oh, I imagine
and
so.
we had a lot of fun because yeah, and his character in the show is more brooding, kind of again a darker aspect, but I think it's his character learning to find that redemption, finding that love within himself. Is a is been was a cool journey to help. bring that out. Because again, I play a happy character. My character, I'm happy through the whole project. You don't see me like you don't see a frown on me one bit, but you see
Hmm.
some scowls on him and
Yeah,
to him.
I bet. You bet. I was unfortunately, like I said, I was teaching, so I didn't get to the screening. So what was the audience reception like at Real Abilities?
No, it's been great. You know, we that was what yeah, it was great. Everyone really I think gravitated towards the project. You know, between Real Abilities and Tribeca and the other festivals that we've been at, you know, everyone left. n- No one said they hated it, so
That's
that's a
good.
win. That's great. Um, but as far as the like the general audience, I think people leave it thinking in a positive way.
Okay.
I think people, you know, it's a journey of self reflection. It's a
Sure.
journey of forgiveness and redemption and all these things. And I think everyone has something like that in their life. Um, whether it's subconsciously or conscious, um, we all have these moments in our life where we went left instead of right, or we went right
Hmm.
instead of left, and
Yes.
I think that this movie can definitely stir that in a positive direction.
Okay.
Where there's a lot of self reflection in it, and it's like, what do you mean, or what do you need to feel redeemed? And I think the show or the movie does a great job at. It's not always about full acceptance because you can't make everyone happy. It's impossible. But what you can do is make yourself happy and learn to accept yourself and learn to find that redemption within yourself and do your best not to be that person.
No, I agree with you there. Now, I know you've mentioned you don't have any festival screenings coming up, so I'm assuming then people have to wait for a theater run to get to see it.
So from my understanding, this July we will have a theater run. So I'm very hopeful in that. We're working on the dates now. And so I'm keep an eye out. West Hampton, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all
Yes,
the things.
you bet. Now, looking forward, I know you have One Eye Open coming
Yeah.
out soon. Tell me about that.
Michael Coffey, which I filmed with many years ago on a movie called Triumph.
Okay.
Um and was able to create that. He called me and brought me in on this project. It's like a little horror independent project. We actually have a festival that we're in coming up. I play a character called Brad, um, and I, I wouldn't call it a horror comedy, but my scenes that I'm in definitely felt very comedic.
Okay.
Um and it's kind of one of those horror house movies where
Oh
there's a
boy.
ghost but there's not. Yeah, and there's things that people see and jumps and all the things we love from a horror movie.
Sure. I get you. Do we know when it's coming out yet? Any ideas?
I know we're in the middle of doing the films, the film festival circuit right now. I know we
Okay.
have our first festival coming up, in the next couple months.
Exciting. Okay. And then on
Um,
on the production side of things, anything new coming out?
well, I have two other movies. I'm waiting to hear. One, Talking to Strangers. Another one called Love Me Dead.
Okay.
So I'm waiting. We'll see. Um,
Can
I
we leave it
then
at that?
have
We'll see.
we'll see. We'll see.
Oh boy.
Um, I have a few projects I've been working on in production. I'm actually when I get off this call, I have a production meeting that
Oh,
I've
okay.
been working on for about 5 years now. An animated series.
Okay.
Um, we I always have I kind of always have a project going. Um, in perpetuity or in just continuation of projects that some take a year, 2 years to make, some take 10. Um, it's all about continuing the motion and staying busy and staying
Yeah.
active. And I'm here in Brownsville. I have a couple of big projects. I'm working on an arts and cultural hub with the district here. I have many different charitable organizations that I work with in Texas, and I leave next week to go do a fundraiser for Can Do Canines, and then I'm heading to LA, and just it's really about continuing to stay busy, and
Yeah.
regardless of how you're feeling about it, whether you want to stop or not, or like it's there's those moments of like, let me off this ride.
Oh,
um
yes.
you gotta strap yourself down twice as hard.
Oh,
um
no, I agree.
and just keep the ride going for as long as possible.
Absolutely. Now, if someone sees us today and wants to give you money or cast you or have the next greatest adventure for RJ, where do they find you? Because I know, but you tell them.
Yeah. Oh man, see, I next greatest adventure. That's a great question. I'm pretty easy to find. Social media, RJ Mitte. I have an
Yes.
email on my profile.
You
Feel
do.
free to, yeah, I do. Not people don't really look like
We
so.
never saw that. To be honest with you, I always see your name. I didn't see that on your social media.
Oh
That
no,
must
yeah,
be new.
no, it's been there for a minute. I have
Oh,
an email on
oh my
on my
gosh.
on my Instagram. Um, but no one looks. That's the best. Everyone says they look, but no one looks. Um, but I'm pretty easy to find.
You know what? I'm looking on your Instagram right now and I see the cultural district and then I see your cameo. I see your music video, future of
Um,
personal health. Am I in the wrong page? Oh,
no,
you have
no,
two
no,
pages.
no. There's only one. I know the person that made the second one.
So that's
It-
not you.
the one with me.
Like this
Um,
is this right. Well, I don't think you can see it, but
oh,
it's the
um, no, there should be a. Let me. I think if there's a contact on some
hmm. Yeah, because this has your blue check mark, so it's
yeah,
got your name in the check mark.
this one's me. Yeah, the one
Right.
with the blue. Yeah, that one's me. I don't know why. I know I had an email up there. I have
Okay, so
it.
I'm
It
not
must have.
crazy. I'm like,
You're
okay, it's
not
him.
crazy. No, you're
Okay,
not crazy. But
so
I'm
because I'm
I'm
not
pretty
seeing it.
easy to find.
Okay, I
But
was
I'm
gonna say.
I'm I'm pretty easy to find.
Okay, I gotcha. So, in conclusion, let me say this. This is what I've learned now in two interviews from this guy, and this is he did not pay me to say this, by the way, because I know some people think, oh, you talk to someone and you're purposely saying this. The number one reason I started off wanting to interview him ever in the first place was we all know that I do just about anything my children love. My child has been profusely adamant about loving Breaking Bad. So I said, in some fashion or another, I'm going to get to somebody. And I did. I got to him the first time. Little did I know I would be back for a second appearance, not only in person recently, but here he is again. The three things that I admire most about this young man aren't because he was on Breaking Bad. It's because he's very realistic and hardworking and determined. He's incredibly inspiring. I don't think he has any idea of how many people watch him when he walks into a room, which I've recently noticed that he was just a spectacle in the best way possible. Everyone wanted to be around him. Everyone wanted to talk to him. That says a great deal about character and dignity and respect. And I love that. Third of all, I love the fact that you're similar to myself and many others. We don't identify by one area. We have to work in seven different areas. And regardless of how hard and how complicated life is, whether it's a disability or whether it's a persona of any kind, you look well beyond that and you say, I'm going to do many things for good and oftentimes not for yourself. So my hope is, with any luck at all, that everyone will want to cast you, will want to get to know you, will want to help the foundation, and will want to help your bride too. I mean, you're getting married soon too. I'm like, this is so wonderful. So yeah, you just keep being fabulous. You're wonderful.
Well, thank you so much. I paid you to say that, right? No.
No, actually, remember at the start of that, I said
Yes. No,
he did
I know.
not. This
I
was
know.
a public
No.
endorsement because I
Well,
wanted
I,
to.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. And I think, um, I'm very lucky to be in the position that I'm in
Sure.
and to make that difference and to do that. And I never want to squander it.
Absolutely. You do very, very well.